Good afternoon, everybody. I think sessions like these are very important where there are times where our experts who tend to go deep into the technology as it's supposed to go. And with that note, I think I cannot say anything that has not already been said. As a matter of fact, there has been great couple of hours listening to everybody on this particular podium. We started with obviously fiber and how it's almost the bloodline, and have gone way to what 6G promises, and Professor Sirohi's great insights on how true value of 6G is unlocked. But before we begin and go deeper into some things that still remain untouched in the realm of security and things of that nature, just as an icebreaker, Mr. Ghosh, if I would just like to loop you in the conversation, we've talked so much, and in very blatant terms, whenever we talk about 6G, it still is very speculative in nature, right? We're still talking about a technology that is 4 years from commercialization per se. So just breaking the ice for our audience here, what are we looking at? What is with 5G? What is with 6G? And how has the global scale been up until now?
In the morning session, so some of it will be a bit of repetition, but 6G and how is it different from 5G or 4G and others. As I think one of us, including possibly me, said that I think 4G connected people to the internet and 5G connected things to the things or things to people. 6G is a technology or ecosystem where intelligence will be connected to everything. So it's not about higher speed. Yeah, the speeds are higher than 5G, but as we have seen, just high speed doesn't make much.
Really, yeah, thank you so much. It's not only about speed, it's like 5G is like a connectivity platform, and 6G I can say is an intelligence platform. That is the difference, and I covered earlier. What is so different in 6G? One is the entire issue of integrated sensing and communication, the sensing platform part of it, or sensing as a service. Secondly, it's AI native network. It's not an additional thing on the network. It's the network itself is AI. Third is ubiquitous connectivity. As I said, it connects not only through the telecom towers and all that, but also with the NTN, the non-terrestrial and the satellite. That's number 3. And number 4, it's the question will come that if so much investments are needed and so on and so forth. What is the nowadays we have to think of sustainability. So the fourth element is not too different from 5G also, is that it's a sustainable by design, targeting the various net zero commitments that each country has given. So essentially it's a question of intelligence, AI, sensing, ubiquitous and sustainable by design. I would like to sum up there. Thank you.
When we are looking at from a technological point of view, we have seen how the technology has rapidly progressed. You used to have at least 10 years before the next G used to come in, and now you're talking about the next set of evolutionary Gs coming much faster into the picture. We have seen with 4G, 5G advances almost on the cusp right now. 6G, we are already talking about it, and one thing that we have seen that before anything arrives, obviously there are standards, there are policies, but one of the most important features that I think still remains untouched today is the security realm of it. And I think we have 2 expert panelists here, and maybe we'll start with Vijay, first you. From a security point of view, we have talked a lot about applications, use cases, what's happening with the spectrum policies. From a security point of view, just can you enlighten the audience over what can we expect with the changes? Because as Mr. Ghosh said, it's intelligent. A lot of things are going to be connected amongst themselves within the ecosystem. So what are we looking at from a security point of view?
Yeah, thank you, Siddharth, for the question. Good morning, everyone. I'm Vijay Jindal from SATI. So I will say this is a very critical questions. Every one of us is talking about that what we can achieve from the 6G. The approach that we followed in 4G and partially I will say in 5G also, that mainly we concerned about the functionality, that how we talked about the speed, coverage and efficiency of the network. And security is always an additional layer of that. That generally we do in this thing in software part also, like whenever we are creating any system, what we do, we just create the system, we check the functionality, and in the last, we just do the VFAD kind of thing, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. If that is successful, we will say the software is successful. But no, in this, I will say it is a very early stage. Like when we are going towards the 6G, we have to think that security by design. That how we can secure our system by design itself. When we are saying the design, so in the whole life cycle, we have to ensure that security is everywhere. First, like if I will talk about the hardware layer, then we have to ensure that we are having the secure chipsets. We are having the protection against the supply chain attacks, right? So that is the thing is happening on daily basis. Whenever like we visit any incident occur in India and when we visit there, but we seeing like we are not having that visibility that what all the things actually we are using. So in hardware also, we also issued the guidelines regarding the HCOM, hardware bill of material. Whenever we are creating any system, we should have one document where we have to mention all the hardware, their versions, OEM and all the details. Right? Now coming to the network layer, when we are talking about the network layer, in this we have to follow the zero trust architecture. In 6G, we will say every identity, whether it is a user or any device, any sensor, anything, it's a basically whenever we need a continuous authentication for that. So we cannot trust a single type of authentication. The continuous monitoring is important. Now 6G is AI led. So we are saying AI will not only assist the system, it will control and optimize the system. Now what we are observing that the attackers are now more, earlier they was interested in the servers, they was interested in the applications, network. Now they are more interested in the models and the data. So the attacks are now transforming they are more interested in the data, and the various different types of attacks are happening on the AI models. The attackers are poisoning the data, poisoning the model itself. They are doing the model inversion attacks. So when we say the 6G is AI native, this is introducing the completely new attack surface where the attacker can attack. We are saying that billion and trillion devices are connected. So every device can be the entry point for the attacker. We have to consider all these things from the beginning. Thank you.
So I think it's an imperative that security is going to get more complex, more complicated, but at the same time even more critical. Sir, turning to you, extending on the same topic about cybersecurity and things of that nature, how do you make the networks more resilient and more trustworthy for public and private players?
Hello. I am Suresh Sundra, already introduced. I worked in STQC, part of MIT. And my major area was compliance and standards. Basically, when we talk about security aspect, so we have to first see what you are securing. So that is more important. So our VIP here is data, and data is generated by some sensors, and those sensors can be anything. These may be IoT or anything else. Data is generated, and our data, whether it is residing there in the device itself, means let us say that IoT is there. So we are talking about 6G means processing can be done locally, and then processed data can be transferred. So first aspect is whatever data is to be processed in that product, whether that product is secure. That data can be processed securely in that product. From security perspective, or as per the perspective of information technology, it is my network, it is a highway. Earlier it was 4-lane, now it's a 5-lane or 6-lane. But there are bottlenecks, means Can give you the typical example. You are going on a 8-lane highway and suddenly you are finding a bridge. It is only 2-lane. So it's a bottleneck. You can't cross, there will be the jam, traffic jam. So what I will do for this at 8-lane highway? So similarly here, when we are talking about transmission of the data, we are talking about 6G. If we are not ready with the desired instrumentation, means my interface is ready, my products are compliant as per the 6G requirement, my security requirements are also fulfilled, means I am having a firewall in the network. Now data is coming and terminated at the router. From router, it is going to the firewall for scanning. My latency, my firewall latency is less as comparison to the data transferred. So I may be having 6G, it is useless for me because it is blocked by firewall. Firewall is not having that latency. So what does it mean? It means that we should not work in silos. Basically, when we are talking about some technology, we should see about every aspect. If I want to implement 6G, what is required? What all is required for implementation? Same thing, I am talking about this product part, technological part. Same thing is happening in practical scenario. Some of the persons who are practically, it is not there at ground. Reason is we are working in silo. IIT Delhi is not talking to Kanpur, Kanpur is not talking to Chennai, MIT is not talking to, let us say, DOT is not talking to the IT department. They are working in silos and they are expert in their own areas. Communication Ministry will talk that we are the expert here and we are everything in this area. IT Ministry, they are having some other scope, they are good in their area, Home Ministry in their area, like that. So that is our bottleneck. It is the ground reality. We are not working as a team. This is DOT person, this is IT person, this is Home Ministry person, this is product company, like that, this is my academia. Let us sit together and decide. We want to work in this area, this is a requirement, and let us proceed further. This is a requirement of the country. My previous speaker, they were talking about various technological development happening in this area in other countries, like patent. 90% of the patent, they are in some other country, majority in Korea or Japan or US, like that. We are also having very educated person, technically qualified person. They are having fame in other country like in US. They are having the very good organization there. We are having the same institute here. They were having degree from the same institute. Why we are not having same thing here in India? Why we are not having that type of research here in India? Why we are lacking here? They are excelling in other country but not in India. So that means there are some gaps. There are some issues related to the policy part. There are some issues related to the implementation part. So, but his question was related to the security. I went to some other direction. So, I was talking about communication part, 6G, let us say. 6G is transferring that data, is terminated at some product level, means network. And in network, you are having many devices. You are having firewall, router, switches, and then finally server. So dependency will be there. Dependency will be there on the product also. I gave the example of firewall. It should be complied to the security requirement. Then only it will be able to handle that much workload. Now the next part is the security. Now when we are talking about the security, I am differing from some of the requirement of 6G security. Basically 6G is a channel of communication. I am securing the data. Basically, I am securing my VIP, and VIP is data. And data security, there are many mechanisms and methodology, like encryption. And there are different types of encryption, different techniques of encryption. Now, when we are talking about security, at my home, the security is my lock. I am putting the lock on my gate, it is secure now. Similarly, when we are talking in IT related aspect, the security here is encryption only, nothing else. If I am using encryption, it is secure. What type of encryption you are using, that's a different thing. So here question is, security is governed by encryption in the data, in information technology. And that encryption I am not having in India. We are not having our own algorithm here. Leave the defense part. They are having their own encryption algorithm. But everywhere we are using the algorithm which are developed by US. We are dependent upon FIPS, nothing else. FIPS is developing algorithm, we are believing on that it is secure. Whether we can believe that, it's a big question mark. Whatever I am getting, in algorithm, I am using as a lock. Whether it is really a unbreakable lock, it's a big question mark.
Incentive driven
Yeah,
approach.
what is the target? How many thousands startups got incorporated? What do I do with that number?
Tangibility needs to come from somewhere.
So if the government official need to prove his performance as enabler for ecosystem of startup, why he is not saying that there are 100 companies which have been nurtured during my time and they have reached this level of revenue generation? So I think somewhere the policy and objectivity is missing.
That's right.
We need to do that.
And I think this is a great forum, as a matter of fact, to ensure that we as participants of the ecosystem make sure that the progressive policies continue to be motivated through the voices of us. And I'm just going to circle back, Mr. Ghosh. I've heard a lot about, security obviously has been very deeply explained by everyone. One thing that continues to pester that ecosystem is capex. A lot of money was given into 5G. We've heard the staggering figure of $19 billion. OPEX is already there at all point of time. The ARPUs have not gone up substantially. With 6G, what kind of differences are we looking at firstly in the market? And then I would like to just go slightly off the record and maybe point to what Professor Sironi said. Do you think that there is an opportunity for the likes of the Tejas and HFCs of the world to go big with 6G?
So good question, valid question, and thanks for asking that. In short, I'll start with your question on investment appetite by the telecom operators. I don't see there is much of investment appetite in spending a lot of money on spectrum and then rolling out 6G. I don't see clearly any such interest right now. Now, one is of course you said 5G. Not only 5G. Even more than a decade back, Indian telecom operators, there were many that time, they spent about 65,000 crores on 3G spectrum. It came to be known more as a winner's curse.
Yeah.
Before we could do much on 3G, came 4G.
That's right.
And then the first so-called 5G auction, which happened in 2022, we have heard 19 billion, 1,50,000 crores, big money. 2024, again auctions happened. Government put up spectrum worth about 96,000 crores at base price. How much have got bid? Only 11,500 crores. 14% got bid. That should tell us the investment appetite. 2 years back, people committed 1,50,000. 2 years later, with 5G already rolled out, only 11,500 crore was committed. That should tell us. So operators, the ecosystem will not invest when the technology is ready, clearly. They will only invest if the economics make sense. All the technicalities we are hearing since the morning from very esteemed and knowledgeable speakers, operators are not interested. They will see where is the money. If I put 100, how do I get back 110 or 120? What has happened, as you said, ARPUs have gone up. Not because of only because it's become a duopoly now practically. We may not like saying that in a public forum, but it's practically it's duopoly. So if two telecom operators hold 70-80% of the market, ARPUs will automatically go up because they have the pricing power.
One price hike away from an output.
Yeah, if one hikes, the other one will also hike. So that is how it works. It's not due to some great enhancement of service or something like that. So from where will the money come? In some other, in your discussions, you may hear this that, oh, Jio is coming out with IPO this year. Sometime this year, I think the DHRLP is supposed to be filed in April, etc. And somebody will tell you great numbers, $180 billion is the valuation. I have myself written and published on that. Question is, that's a wrong answer because there is a OFS issue. It's not money is not coming into the company.
That's right.
It's an OFS. It will provide exit to private equity and early investors who invested in 2020.
That's right.
So where is the money to invest thousands of crores in spectrum and then load up? There isn't any money. So that's the first part of your question. Yeah, on the second part was on Tejas and HFCL, etc. Yeah, there is some good scope not only to look at the domestic market can be the starting point. Tejas is already there in the BSNL. I don't hear much good things about that, but possibly it's a vanguard tax as they call it, TV problem. So they will of course do better, hopefully so. So yes, there is an opportunity to first, take care of the domestic market, and then other Asian markets are good. Asian except China and Japan, of course, but they are adequate and are probably more than what we have. So it's a good opportunity for them. But coming back, there isn't much money. So to sum up, I would think 6G from an operator ecosystem, and you would ask me if I can speak as if from an operator, because there is nobody from any of the operators here on the group. So from a operator's perspective, 6G is still a strategic discussion point. It is not yet an item in the budget.
That's right. And that's a very practical answer, I would say, because eventually everything does boil down to money. Obviously, the MNOs in this country, they are in charge of, again, 1 billion people who are using wireless services at least. So they need to make the economics work, and then again, they need to make sure that all the other people in the ecosystem, they continue to be, moving in the same synergy as they. And just be cognizant of the time. I think we'll start to conclude this panel, and maybe we can start with Mr. Vijay. Just your quick views. Coming from a cybersecurity point of view, again, billions and billions of connections going forward. What are the opportunities and what are the challenges for our audience here?
So I will say, like we are saying, the 6G is connecting the physical world, digital world, and virtual world all together. So the attack surface is significantly increasing. So in 6G, we are talking about AI, we are talking about the edge computing, right? And we are talking about, we are connecting all the IoT devices together. So all these are again increasing the attack surface. So the handling all these things all together, that how basically we are designing our architecture into that is very important.
Right.
So when we say the edge computing, mainly we are processing the things near to the user,
Right.
for getting the more efficiency.
Right.
But it again increases the more vulnerability into the system, because I cannot secure the individual system as compared to my data centers, right? So as Sir said, like encryption is everything. When we say about security, so yes, we have to work on the encryption at the user level also. We have to ensure the multi-factor authentications into that. We have to ensure the ZTA, right, Zero Trust Architecture. Every device in the system, because their devices are more vulnerable actually, because IoT devices is very heavily less resource resident, right? So I have to secure that. For that, we can design a small lightweight protocols, right? That in that we can implement the security.
Yeah.
So all these are the challenges. So again, what we observe generally whenever we go for any incident, it's not like the attacks are happening is a very advanced attacks, right? All that are the very basic level attacks because we are not having the visibility of our architecture, what actually we are using all that things, and our architecture is not designed by Cisco, so that is very important. Yeah. Thank you.
Professor Sirohi, I love the technology behind it. We've been in talks with Ericsson and CreatePoint as a research company for a long time. One thing that we again continue to believe is that within the Indian ecosystem, there is still a slight amount of awareness issue or maybe information asymmetry. Do you also feel that? And do you feel that is something that with 6G might be managed in a better fashion?
I'm not really sure what is the problem in India for adopting. Possibly it's a fear of service providers that if the private networks are being set up as CNCN, then they will lose their business. This is just a fear. If they are successful, then already 3GPP has created a model of creating private network by public service providers, so they will actually be gainer, right? So it is just their perspective. Private networks are looking for higher technology than the public network. 6G would actually be the case for private networks. In my opinion, there won't be any 6G launched by public service providers. It is end. They will not have any launch of 6G. 6G would be launched by the private captive networks. They will prove its worth, volume will get generated, business case will emerge for the public networks operators, and they will launch. They will possibly that time need a new spectrum. 6G itself does not need a new spectrum. So connecting new spectrum and the technology capabilities, it is a wrong view completely, right? So 6G would be implemented in the available spectrum. Most likely, whatever spectrum would be made open for the public network, private networks deployment, right? This is how I view. And in terms of the security aspects, public networks के मुकाबले private network की ज़्यादा security requirements हैं, right? And people in India, whatever I know the community, they are talking about architectural enhancement in security for the deployment in private enterprises, right? And whether it is encryption, authentication, and other parts which are integral part of a security, they are being addressed. 5G as a technology gives the provision of incorporating custom algorithms. They are not dependent on the whatever has been defined by them. All the algorithms defined by 5G are already global standards, right? And of course, many of them are US driven, but not all of them are US driven, right? So there is a good amount of work being done, and I believe in enough sincerity. So things are going to be good in my view.
Just a yes or no question. Private 5G or private 6G induces more innovation into the mobile tech, yes or no, than public?
No, I didn't get your question.
So क्या private 5G ज़्यादा innovation drive करता है?
Obviously, I have already told you.
That's a given.
It is more innovation. Actually, innovation comes from the use case.
That's right, absolutely.
Right? So far in the country, you have not defined your differentiated use cases.
Right. Yeah.
So you have to first define differentiated use cases and then pick up the right technology to realize it, and where the technology does not support, do the research to fill that gap.
That makes
This is the model.
That's
So
possible.
private point you get spectrum because public to launch it only private.
That's a bold thing. That's a bold thing, and I'm gonna have to. So what we'll do is we'll discuss this over lunch. And Mr. Chandra, any last closing thoughts for the audience?
Yes, I will talk about this hardware security is more critical now. as comparison to our network level security. But I am not saying it is not important. I mean to say here, network level security is mature now, more mature. So we should have more focus now on hardware side, because there also we are having many backdoors and they are undetected. So those backdoors, they are the challenge, and we are realizing, and you may be aware about that also, that wars are happening and somebody is able to track somebody because of some device. The reason being, there are backdoors on those devices and they are able to track an individual person. I can give the example. Recently, we launched on a scheme for camera certification, CCTV certification. A specification were prepared, and there we introduced supply chain security also. Besides some other hardware security aspect, you will be surprised when code review was done. There we found vulnerable libraries way back to 2015. After 2050, those libraries were not updated. Those libraries were obsolete, and they were selling all those chips to the Indian market, because we are not testing. We are just relying. This is from this country, so accept it. So it's a big gap.
That's something that again we believe that will come through collaborations and not working inside is absolutely. Mr. Ghosh, before we send off people to lunch, your final comments. We've discussed about how the good G skips the odd one, right? So 2G was good, 4G was good, 3G not so much, 5G is okay. Kind of getting there. Do you have high hopes of 6G?
Good question. What is the good thing and what is the challenge?
Do you think 6G is going good, and again, what will be the challenges? Your candid thoughts for the audience.
I've been candid since the morning. At times,
That's
too
okay.
candid, just hoping no DOT person is sitting here, then they'll catch hold of me for saying all the wrong things, saying we talk of GDP but not about per capita GDP and all those unpleasant things I have been speaking about. We are always the largest
I know.
user base at the cheapest cost,
I know.
but none of those technologies belong to us. That is a problem. So,
Okay.
anyway, on the question, I think if we can continue the Delhi declaration which we saw on the AI Impact Summit, collaborative, approach, inclusive AI, it's the same inclusive, AI with hopefully sovereign stack to some extent. That should be, I would think, a good thing for India to be, at least as Sir has said. We are now setting up chip companies, and the chip is a business from US since last so many years.
Yeah.
We don't have anything, forget Nvidia, even Intel competitor here. We're trying to do high bandwidth memory, but then Korea has captured the market long back, so it's a very difficult situation. In terms of challenge, I think I've spoken twice already today. The road to revenue is not very clear to me.
Agreed.
That's what I think we are also saying, and President Sir is saying that public operators will not launch only, that may be a bit on the extreme side, but I don't see the road to revenue at all. Why would I invest and if I don't get any returns? So that's what I think a challenge. And thank you so much.
Right. Thank you. Thank you.